Hey there, this is Malorian, and this is another Jank Tank, and with me as always is...
Tin Man XL.
And we also have two big guests today, both here from Advanced Maneuvers. We have Gaston.
Hey everyone.
And Polar Bear Cub.
What's up, everybody?
So they decided to come over and, join in with the fun here. We'll be talking about probably some fun stuff still with all the new casters and all these things. But before we get too far... Tin Man, what have you been up to this week?
Well, been clearing out some space to have another area to paint. There's this big area I could paint in, so I've been working on that.
Mm-hmm.
Played a little bit of War Machine last night. I primed a whole bunch of models last week.
So what was the game? What casters versus what caster?
It was Nemo 2 versus Epic Magnus.
See, I like Epic Magnus. I almost hope you lost, but how'd that go?
Well, he was really aggressive with Epic Magnus, a little too aggressive, so he ended his turn right next to Nemo, who hadn't popped his feet yet.
Oh, okay.
So basically, I just kind of nickeled and dimed him down, and then the Stormwall finished him off with a punch there.
Nice.
Terrible.
What? That is amazing.
I'm all Magnus in that matchup.
Yeah. Gotta get the old man. He's gotta rock some shit.
Lock you down. He has that armor-pierced punch. Doesn't do too much to Nemo, but Nemo's armor you don't care anyway. So
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, I accidentally killed him with Avenger once.
accidentally.
Yeah.
So I think
Random shot.
yeah, the
How
joke
about
at
you
the end
guys,
of the
Tom?
match was
Right.
Magnus keeps it real.
Yeah.
Nice.
For any Dave Chappelle fans out there watching this.
So, Gaston, what have you been up to this last week?
Really just gushing about all the new stuff. It's been a great book for Protectorate. A really, really good book for Protectorate. So, every release really is just top. Yeah, there's nothing to complain about at all.
Yeah, they're all pretty nice. My favorite is that little light jack that lights things on fire. That's just gonna be fun. Running that.
We can talk about him today. He's goofy. If anything in the book, that's like the weakest release, and that's just because we already have the dervishes.
But the dervishes don't, light things on fire just by running by.
Yeah, but the rest of the army lights everything on fire too.
It's true. It's true.
So we got some plans for him coming now. Don't worry.
All right, Polar Bear Cub, what have you been up to this last week?
Let's see, a couple things. Super excited about Haley 3. I've been trying to figure out a good list for Haley 3 to play because we're doing a Scrambles tournament coming up. Other than that, not too much. Talking to DC a little bit about play testing, so that's been exciting.
Okay, yeah, that'd be really fun.
That's it.
Yeah, now when he says a good list for Haley 3, what he means is the last time we played, on top of 2, he put 2 Storm Lances into Durst.
And I lost. I lost.
2 Storm Lances right into Durst.
It was pretty sweet, but I still lost.
Not sweet at all. He was on his butt like a little turtle. He couldn't get up. Just took advantage of him.
Yeah, that Haley 3, she has some pretty interesting things she can do. We'll be talking more about her later, I'm sure, but yeah, she loves those Storm Lances for sure.
Mm-hmm. I feel like, with her, dude, Stormlance is so fucking exciting. Oh, man, I'm so pumped. And the trenchers, and, I want to put, 100 things into her list. And it's weird to say, I do not feel like I need more focus with her, man. I just don't have enough. 12 focus is not enough.
12, 13 was Squire.
This is Harbinger's problem. This is what I keep saying. Epic Harbinger, 20 focus.
I never thought I would say these words, but on feet turn, 18 focus, still not enough focus to do everything I want to do. And I'm just ugh, I don't even know how to, handle that.
Yeah. Well, for myself, I got the same thing. I didn't get to go to Lock and Load, but I got this just today. So I'm looking forward to doing some Epic Haley. And there's been a lot of the stuff on there with the Storm Lances and the Trenchers, but I have kind of a different idea of how she can be ran, so it's probably going to be horrendous, but it's going to be worth a shot. Otherwise, just getting some fun games. I played with my Archangel yesterday. Didn't go so well, but at least the Archangel's on the table, so that's a good thing. So.
Well, you got to do the double Archangels.
I don't own the two. I only have the one. So what can you
Can't
do?
imagine why you don't own two.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I guess before we get too far, although I'm sure a lot of people already know, you guys are a massive YouTube channel, and I remember back when you guys wanted, do the Malorian live with me before, and at that time you guys were just starting, and now you guys have exploded. Last time I peeked you guys' channel, you're having 5,000 views plus on all these different battle reports, and so yeah, do you guys want to talk a little bit just about who you are and what you guys are up to?
Gaston?
All right. So I guess we are a weekly battle report channel. So that's basically every Friday we release a new battle report. And it's kind of a funny story because, a lot of this came out of Taudark and his creativity and his time and effort. And he's really put a lot into it and made it what it is and as professional looking as it is. And it was kind of funny because, every time we got to get this group of people, drum them up, force them to play a game on video. Everyone's like, I'm feeling lazy this week. I want to test out a new list. So we made PG Pokey kind of our production manager. And what he came up with is this tournament system. So now we do things in sets of scrambles where everyone has to submit in 2 lists. Now it's a much more competitive format. And we do have kind of a little bit of a rule where if it's the same person, from scramble to scramble, you can't play the same casters. So that way you get a little bit of cycling going there. But now we have the schedule made up where it's like, you guys have this pairing and you have this time frame. Now go out and figure it out, and it's helped move things along a lot. It's been fantastic, and I think having those 2 list choices now in the channel built in there helps to settle a little bit of the bad matchups that you can get, so you're not getting as many of those 15-minute games. You're getting a lot more exciting games, in my opinion. I especially like Polar Bear Cubs game versus Pokey, where it was the Makeda 3 versus Axis. I thought that was a fantastic game.
Yeah, and I mean, it's really built a lot with us. Like, in essence, I think we have the next roughly about 4 months of games because the next scramble is 10 people. So, I mean, it's really nice where we're going to have, like, a much better setup than previous. And like what Gaston said, the ability to put the 2 lists up, like, I think it was an ingenious idea. It's something that people have been talking about for a while, telling us that they really want to see 2 lists. And it's really caused a new level of like diversity within our battle reports, which I really enjoy. It makes them much more exciting. Like I feel like I'm playing a tournament every time we go and play now, which is really nice.
So with this, yeah, we will get a lot more balanced games. I remember one of the favorite ones I watched from there is the one with all the Rhinodons versus all the Berserkers. You probably won't get as many of those crazy matchups anymore, or is that something you're going to try and still arrange and make happen?
So actually, we are still looking at doing those type of things. Actually, what's funny is our battle report coming up this Friday is Love Machine, I believe it is. I believe it's yours that you submitted to Minoth John. So that's actually going up on our battle report this coming Friday to show that off. So we're still doing like the fun goofy things. I think we're playing on definitely the Love Machine was really great. I think that was with John from up in Maryland, who's on the Painting with Minoth John show.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're looking at possibly doing The Longest Night again once October hits. I think we're still going to try to do those fun things, but to make sure we have still a constant in essence backlog of other games where they are more competitive.
Okay. And for you especially, Malorian, I need to throw Solus under the bus here. I'm ready to go with Ashlyn. He's been putting off painting his war spears for Rias, but somehow he managed to get like this whole Convergence army painted. I'm like, buddy, come on. I'm going to spray paint Ashlyn orange. It's like orange is the new black. I'm ready to go. Here's my caster.
Who don't know what we're talking about, and the last time we had a video, they asked me what matchup I wanted, and I said, I'd love to see an Ashlyn versus Rias, and I knew it would take some time because you have to kind of arrange it and stuff, but yeah, I guess I thought it was going to be the Ashlyn was going to be the problem setting up, not the Rias, but that's the way it goes, I guess.
I know.
I got Mertz, I got Galleon, I got orange spray paint. We can do this.
Yeah.
I know, and that thing is now he might even try to paint up the twins first.
That still works. It's still Rias, so.
I think that could be a convincing thing then. If we can tell him that still works, then I feel like that game's going to happen.
That would be intriguing.
Man.
That works for me completely.
I like it. That's awesome.
Tin Man, do you have any
Which
questions
one's a
for
unit?
Advanced Maneuvers?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
Tin Man, you haven't been able to say anything for a bit. Do you have any questions for Advanced Maneuvers?
Well, I really enjoyed the custom Warcaster battle report. You probably may have saw my comment on the video.
Mm-hmm.
What brought that about?
You get
Yes,
that one back up. You can't keep shunning it off.
Okay, so let's see, the custom. I think that was the one with the. Hold on.
It was
I
like
can
part
remember
spell
the name.
draft, part take.
Service.
Was that was the feat of service one, right?
Yes.
Okay, so with that one, that was actually a feat of service that one of the local groups, Nova Nomads, for the past 2 years they've been doing it's called Feat of Service, and it's pretty much raising awareness for wounded warriors. They actually just had it about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and last year and even this year they did 2 things. They did a custom caster event, where you kind of build your own caster, and then this year they actually did a master. So that's where the custom caster one came, where they encouraged everyone for a hobby aspect to build your own warcaster and build it up from there, and then they raise money for charity. You get the you buy tickets into it, and it's a lot of fun. It's a really cool thing that the Nova Nomads put together. They just finished it, and I believe they raised, I want to say, over $4,000 for the Wounded Warrior Project.
Oh,
which
wow.
is a pretty good amount. It's last year I think they did a little over 2,000. I might be wrong, but I think they doubled it this year. So that's where that is. Sorry, it took me a minute to remember.
No problem. So clearly you guys have been doing this for a while now, and so I'm a battle reporter, Tin Man's a battle reporter, I'm sure there's other battle reporters watching. What do you guys would say would be the big learnings over the years that you found, like, wow, this was a big step up, this is a big thing we want to be successful?
I feel like the big thing for us was really the 2 things I think is the fact that Taldark is so dedicated to the production value. I mean, no matter how much we beg, he will never let us put a model that is not painted on video on the channel, except for one time in the video was scrapped because someone can't count points correctly. Was that the time you got the free avatar?
Hey, that was War Room. War Room kept giving me free avatars. It was fantastic.
So yeah, so there was one time where we did not have a painted model, but unfortunately the video got scrapped. So I think that was a really big thing, is the fact that he is a slave driver when it comes to making sure things are painted. But he's also, he's really good at help, if we need something painted. I mean, he painted almost my entire Convergence army for me. I think I might have painted like a unit and a half. I think that, and I think what the most recent thing is getting a schedule down. Like once we have a schedule down now, we're forcing ourselves more to play more. Because I'll be honest, I have been on the channel. I think that there are guests that have been on more than I have. So.
Well, that's the other thing. Over the time, you guys have gained more and more people coming on, which is great because you get to see more people and more armies. Has that been really just saying, like, oh, we want to get this person with this faction, or is it really people coming to you saying, hey, I really want to join the team?
I think it's a mixture of both. Obviously there's some things that we're lacking. We really don't have a Retribution player at all that plays, so we've been trying to get Retribution on the channel. But also, we've had people like, hey, I have this army. One of the guys from Nova Nomad, Brandon, he has a really nice Kador army, and he really wanted to do a hardcore event on there. And his models are absolutely beautiful when they're painted. I think he won a Master Craftsman. I'm not exactly sure where that was at. That might have been at TempleCon that he won Master Craftsman. His models are amazing. He really wanted to come on, so obviously we're excited. It's a beautiful painted model. We want to show that. He's that's the mixture.
His blog, if you want to check out his painting, is Plarzoid. Plara Zoid.com.
Yeah, but what about you guys? What did you guys do to get into it?
Yeah, Tin Man taught me War Machine back in the day.
Well, what got me into it was that back in the day, a battle report was basically one guy with a camera and two guys playing a game, and you had no idea what was going on. And I had this idea of saying, hey, each turn we do a summary. So met up with my friend Tom, who you've seen in most of my battle reports, and so hey, I got this idea. I bought this new digital camera to take pictures of my minis, and it turns out it can record video for more than just 2 minutes like every other digital camera I had before that. Let's try this here. So we did the first couple, we did our first few battle reports there, and it was just, okay, we play a turn, talk about it. First it was play a round and talk about it, then later became play a turn and talk about it. And we were posting that out. And then more and more people started jumping in and doing that. So it's like watch this whole community grow to a point to where I can't even keep up with it anymore. It used to be everybody who was doing battle reports, everybody who was doing War Machine videos on YouTube, I subscribed to them. I watched everything they put out, but then more and more people started doing it, and it grew to a point that can't even keep track of it all anymore, which is great.
It is great.
I remember when I first started playing. I started with the beta tester roles when they're going from Mark 1 to Mark 2. So I didn't know what a lot of things were. I was watching one of your Circle games. I was like, "What is a Lord of the Feast?" I have no idea what this is. And 2 months later, I'm like, "Oh, it does that." Sucks.
Well, and I think that's a big thing though. We owe a lot of our stuff because of you and Malorian. You guys you guys really set the groundwork. We kind of just tagged along. We're like the goofy little kids.
Well, not really so much me. I mean, I kind of started in fantasy and then kind of came over here later. But yeah, I mean, guys like Tin Man definitely set up the groundwork early.
I remember I was doing videos, and if I see a few people that come along, do them for a while, and then stop. The Spike Battle Reports down in LA, it was a group of players down in LA. They were doing it for a while. They stopped. There was the Steam Power Canadians that became the Page 5 Canadians. They were going strong, and then I guess they had a situation where you had to move and didn't have the man cave basement anymore to record games. So I haven't really seen much from him since. But then there's others that have come along and have been going on strong. You guys have been going on strong, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I think in October it might be 2 years.
Yeah, I think we're up to around 85 battle reports.
And I mean, and that's massive because when I started doing fantasy, and fantasy has more people out there, it's easier to get subscribers. It took me years. I mean, we're talking 4 or 5 years of making battle reports before I got to the area. I was like, okay, now I got a few thousand subscribers. You guys just whoosh, and you just got right in there.
I'm pretty sure
Took me 3 years to get my first 1,000 subscribers.
Damn.
And I haven't gotten 2,000 yet.
All right. Well, I think just kind of moving this on maybe to the next section here, well, we can talk a little bit of some Jank Tank stuff, actually. Tin Man, did you actually get to make a list for this one, or did you do last week? I forget now.
We were so busy talking about the spoilers, we didn't talk about the list.
It's true. So maybe let's go across. I don't want to totally catch off guard. Do you have anything you want to... Was there a janky list that you were working on there, Tin Man?
I had one to talk about last week, actually. Let's see if I can find it here. Oh, wait, let me go to the war room.
Sure. Gaston, while he's looking, has there been like a janky list you've been working on lately?
Yeah, tell me
yeah.
about your
As a matter of fact, what was that?
Tell them about your bullshit list.
That's officially the name of the list now, the bullshit list. So, in was it Reckoning now, I feel like? Yeah, when Reckoning came out, we got Hand of Judgment, which Hand of Judgment is like that hot sauce. It's I put that shit on everything. And so, ever since I saw the concept art for it, it's this character, it's got a character flamethrower. At the time we thought it had an arc node, I'm like, I want this guy to go with Thyra. And so I made this whole list now with Thyra in him, and I think it's pretty darn good. It was ripping people up the other day. So we end up with Thyra, the Hand of Judgment, a Hierophant, Avatar of Medoth, Choir, Double Daughters, Lady Anna and Master Halt, Tristan, 2 Repenters, Nisia, Iraq, and a vassal.
And now that you've played, is there any part that you think you'd want to change to something else?
Tristan is kind of in a weird spot for me because basically he always gets occultation because he has to move forward to keep the repenters in his control area. So one of the things I've done a little bit with him is swap him in and out with the Bastion Seneschal because now that guy's a lot sturdier. He is a POW 12 weapon master, and he also provides a nice command 10 bubble for the daughters that flank to keep them from fleeing. So I go back and forth a little bit on whether I want to be able to boost a hit and boost a damage or just boost a damage with my, Rat 7 flamethrowers.
Jeez.
They can only get up to POW 18 in the list.
Only 18. Oh, what a shame.
I know.
Tin Man, were you able to find your list that you've been working on?
Got it right here.
All right, what do you got?
Well, basically, one of my favorite circle casters, Grail the Forest Strider. And he's kind of has a super solo style, so I decided to put a super solo list together. So we've got, of course, Grail with the Druid Wilder, so she can throw the animi around. That's what I like using her for, or for Fury management. If I'm running hot, she can pull some stuff off there. A couple of Warp Wolf Stalkers. Just love taking 2 Warp Wolf Stalkers with Grail. We've got the Lord of the Feast. We've got Wolf Lord Morag, 2 Tharn Ravager White Mains. We got a couple of Gallows Groves because arc noting, just arcing arcing Gallows. Definitely good for that. Then, of course, we've got Lanissa Russell, who I threw in there. I can't remember why because I made this list a week ago. And, of course, we got the Tharn Wolf Riders and some Tharn Blood Weavers because I likes the ladies,
So have you been able to try a list like that before, or how do you think it's going to normally work?
I played lists similar to this before. They work pretty good, unless someone's got a really solid solo assassin that just picks them off right and left. But Throne Ravager White Mains are pretty tough. Don't tend to get picked off too easily. Lord of the Feast does get picked off easily unless you place them in cover or something. Wolf Lord Morag doesn't get picked off too easily. So it looks pretty solid.
Yeah, especially if there's a lot of infantry or something that can't really get a lot of real power on those models. That can make for a pretty interesting fight.
I once had a Tharn Ravager White Mane, which has been named Bob ever since. I have Bob written on the back on his rear arc. Went through an entire Dawn Guard Invictor unit. Dawn Guard Sentinels in one activation.
You're a terrible person.
Yeah, he charged in, killed one, and just moved down the line. Took out, included the unit attachment, and then in the end, he had to go. He had to go at Viros and put some damage on Viros.
Yeah.
It's one of those moments where I wish I had the camera.
Yeah, to catch it all.
It's like there's a few games I've played where I was like, man, I wish the camera was around for this. Like one was a game I played against a Protectorate player friend of mine who was using Fiora 1. Set all my pirates on fire. Every single pirate rolled the fire out.
Yep. Those games happen. What can you do?
The camera was there for that. Dude was dice rated too.
So it's interesting that you talk about Grail though, because I've come across him a couple times, and one of the ones that I thought was kind of creative was taking a Woldwrath with him. Have you ever kind of looked at that?
See, I'm getting up here. This guy here is missing bits. I have to write somebody about that, but yeah, he's the next Colossal I'm going to be putting together and painting.
So how does that jank work? How does Grail synergize with the Woldwrath?
The Woldwrath rolls up with the Animus. It has the Gallows, gets the extra dice, so you're yanking things into you, and you're just pouncing on them, bouncing back. It's also kind of a nice anchor for the list, versus I guess a lot of circle lists tend to be a little bit squishier. Of course, now this is all before Bradigus happened.
Yeah.
Changed the world.
No more squishy circle when there's Bradigus.
Oh god, we all thought Epic Balder was bad.
I know.
Can always get worse.
I'm looking forward to Chromac 2.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, he looks awesome. Just his model itself is beautiful, and his rules are just. Ugh. So good.
That feat.
Oh my god, that feat is dumb.
It's funny.
I
Actually,
like the living war beast myself, so it's like, yeah, my Werewolf Stalkers are gonna get some work done that turn.
Yeah. Looking forward to trying out that one for sure, especially because, I always love the circle casters that can run a lot of beasts, and that's exactly what he wants, right? He's basically the Abbey 2 of Circle, so should be a blast. All right, I know that, Polar Bear Cub, you're trying to work on a Haley 3 list, so maybe I'll talk about the janky one I'm working on. So a lot of times when you see people having up their list for Haley 3, it's pretty much the same. You see the Trenchers in the front, you see the Storm Lances, there might be like Ayanna and Holt, but it's really based around in those clouds and really the Storm Lances doing their thing. Well, I play a lot of Maylock, and I know all about doing that, recursion and reviving and stuff. And for Maylock, it's all about reviving and armor. Well, what I'm actually wondering if it would work for Haley 3 is what about reviving and going on high defense? So she even has the one spell, Temporal Flux, where if you're within 5 inches of a model of this unit, and there could be 3 of them, then friendly models get another +2 defense, and enemies will be -2. Now, especially with her 2 little incorporeal friends that can go forward, they can be going out and putting out these bubbles, and then all of a sudden your stuff, you can do a really massive defense skew. You can even do something like having your Nis. Nis go with Murdoch, so you can be reviving them, and then when they're in range of this as well, their defense 17. And if you really want to push that further, sure, go with Reinhold as well. Not Reinhold, Rupert. And make that defense 18. And then all of a sudden you just got this line of, 10 Nis saying, I'm defense 18, good luck trying to hit me. We're harder to hit than even Kayazi assassins. And I think this could be a way of running this.
That is awesome.
And you could be putting in things as well. I mean, you could still have your Storm Lances. You could have room for that as well. But then you could have things like Gun Mages. And whenever you want them just to get in there and bog things down, sure. Gun Mages, they go up to defense 17, and they just hold things down while the Storm Lances start to clear things off. And so not only is it kind of a thing where you're bogging things down and do a slow attrition, but the same thing I find with Maylock is it's also an attack on the Death Clock. So with Maylock, people waste all their time trying to attack the Gators, and I just raise them back up. It'll be the same thing here, but to a greater extent, because they're just missing everything and trying to kill some of these guys, and then after their heavies boost to hit and kill a few guys, you just revive them back. You don't even care. So that's what I want to try.
I've done the defense 18 Daughters of the Flame with Testament reviving them. And
Okay, yeah.
It is absolutely awesome.
It is not awesome. It is so infuriating.
Everyone in your meta loves it. They will love it.
That actually makes me really excited. Like, I'm more pumped to play Haley 3 every time I look at her. I'm so afraid to not have her with Trenchers, but I know removing that 6 points is just a really good investment. I just don't know what to do, and I literally have to submit a list pretty soon, and I don't know. I might have to steal the style of your list there, Lauren, and just go with it and go for broke, because I want to do her paired with Haley with Nemo 3.
Okay, yeah.
Be good, but if I do that, then I can't have ADR. So we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, definitely, whenever they had these pre-releases for other things at cons, I've never really been that interested. It's like, oh, I can wait. It's not that big of a deal if I have to wait a few months. But Haley 3, she is so interesting, so different. I just had to go for it. And, I mean, I know some people might think it might be crazy to spend that money for getting this stuff, but she is so great. I mean, the stuff in the box isn't that bad either, right? You were talking about how this story here, at what cost? It's a great story.
It's got more holes than Swiss cheese.
Whatever, I don't care. DC, I mean, Doug Seacat is amazing. He does no wrong.
Yeah, it does no wrong like dropping a mammoth on a wall.
He does no wrong.
Well, at least they finally found a use for the CG Animatrix.
That's true.
What's that?
Walk it off a cliff and throw it at people.
Oh, okay, yeah. See, I think actually we're going to have a lot of support here for Signar, because I play Signar, Polar Bear plays Signar, Tin Man Signar, so I mean, it's all happy times here for Haley 3.
You're right. I play Hyrule Flame. Our Signar hates me.
See,
Yeah.
and that's honestly like Haley 3 is the reason kind of why I went back to Signar, because I kind of went away from them for a long time when I started playing Convergence. I love my Convergence. I love Axis. But man, Haley 3 is just, oh man, she has brought me back to the golden Signaris. And I'm so pumped to put her on the table.
Yeah, and I'm still trying to figure out what Jack to run with her. And, at first I kind of thought I'd go with the regular thing of Stormwall or maybe Hurricane when it comes out. But one of the things that actually seems to be okay, actually, with her is taking Dynamo. Because then you just keep on doing that same attrition, the same bog down, and as soon as the opponent tries to push too hard to try and break through that, well, then that's where you pop feet. Teenager Haley goes and does the, what is it called, Force Hammer to knock down the caster, and then that's great. Dynamo just do, and it's over.
That's a really good idea.
I am so glad I've got my Ferret Scouts coming for pigs.
I'm so glad that they're not coming out for once.
Yeah. And
I was
another part of
playing
this,
against Dynamo, and they rolled up, took out his gun in one go.
another part of this I think I'm going to run too is actually run Alexia in there as well, because first of all, Teenager Haley is only focus 6, 6 being on the feet turn, so it can be hard to actually hit things with that Force Hammer, but if you run up Arisen, that's a really easy thing to Force Hammer through into a caster, and as well, then you're getting the double revive, or recursion, because your stuff can die, Alexia gets a corpse, and then you just revive it up as well. And so you're getting the double models every single time somebody dies. So.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
So, Polar Bear Cub, what other janky stuff have you been working on?
It's really been Haley 3 lately. I mean, I've been running a pretty standard list with her. I guess not really standard, but it's really just Haley 3 with Thorn. Put Trenchers in there, min unit, Gun Mages, because I love Gun Mages, Stormblades and Stormlances, and pretty much the thought with that list is, between the Gun Mages and the Trenchers, once they get up on the field, they can either remove models that are in the way, or actually what I did the other night was Gun Mages to push models around, because it would be self-sacrificing that are just jerks. And then Old Rowdy came up and killed 2 Stormlances and tried to get them into to kill a caster. Fortunately, it didn't work. Dice did not favor me. I popped my feet and tried to get Baby Haley to arc a Force Hammer, and I needed a 9 on 3 dice and just did not roll.
Did not happen?
No, so my plan kind of fell apart a lot more after that, and yeah. But it was fun. It was a lot of fun. Like I said before, it's very amusing to play her.
So I guess maybe kind of going with this, and the same thing with all these releases, is there was a ton of releases, lots of them. A lot of people have said a lot of things about them already. What's the one release out of all of them that you figure that everybody has them wrong? Like, you know what, if you say this thing's really good, I actually think it sucks, or other people think this release sucks and you think it's great, or if they say that, oh, you're going to use them this way, you think it's going to be used another way. What's really that one for you where you're thinking everybody kind of has it wrong? Gaston, what would be yours?
It's kind of hard because pretty much everyone loves every release we got. Probably the most controversial one is going to be the Purifier, which, the first time I looked at it, I'm like, okay, that's just a giant dervish. That's more expensive. So I wasn't terribly excited about it. Now, if you look at the design concepts behind it, it's very obvious there. It's going for the shield wall units. You're going to roll on up, you ignore the shield wall, you have overtake, so you have, normally people line them up in 2 rows. You just overtake down the front row, and you touch everybody in the back row and light them all on fire. And so that one little jack can just get an entire shield wall unit dead. One of the things that's funny you're talking about defensive spam is I was looking at playing Durst with a gigantic battle group and taking advantage of Wall of Steel. So I was going to put a Dervish and a Repenter together in little groups. And then once you start using things like Boundless Charge, Choir, Nyan, and Halt, you get these dervishes up to the point where against like an armor 19 heavy, they were doing 28 damage, and then the Repenter just rolls in and finishes him off. And then these two little jacks together are now defense 15 on his feet, they're armor 19. And then if you're playing against like trolls or something that doesn't have reach, Parker Reckoner right behind them, they now go up to armor defense 17. These are little light jacks.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's a lot of potential there with him playing with that defense spam as well.
Okay. How about you, Tin Man? What's the one thing you think that it's, they got a little bit wrong?
It's too soon to tell. I mean, not enough people got these models on the tabletop yet. There's a whole history of things looking really good in the book, and then you get it on the table and it's not measuring up. So I think once we get these models come out and we get them on the tabletop, we'll really be able to see. I mean, I'm excited about the little Goblin Pirate guys. I've wanted Goblin Pirates for a long time, but I've heard conflicting opinions about how effective they'd be. So it just depends. When we get these on the tabletop, we're really going to know.
50% effective.
That's all you need.
It's Schrodinger's effectiveness, right?
No, it's literally 50%. You need 2 7s to hit a war beast, one to reel yourself in and one to weaken it. Now, if you start weakening that thing, like I'm looking at Gators, I've got Spiny Growth going on. I've got, Parasite going on. So now I've got, basically another +2 armor for my whole faction. But, like, you send those guys after a Gargantuan, I'm not going to have any problems hitting that. So imagine, you just debuffed a Mammoth. Congratulations.
Now, those things are advanced deploy, aren't they?
Well, sure. Bring up the write-up on them here.
Yeah. But, yeah, we'll have to see how those guys go, that's for sure. Polar Bear Cub, what's yours? Are you thinking, like, man, I think they got it wrong?
I feel like there's more to the Trencher Buster than people think. I feel like he's gonna have a lot of awesome potential. Right now I'm gonna be kind of ridiculously overpowered until they do this whole flanking Trencher thing, because Weapon Master, Mat 9, ridiculousness is probably a little bit too powerful for 3 points. But I don't know. I feel like he's gonna be really good. He's a Mat 7 right now. He can assault in with, I believe, a Power 14 gun that creates an AOE afterwards. It's a cloud effect, so he can hang out in the cloud effect. He has a Power Push Strength 13 melee weapon, and I think his shield is Power Push Strength 11. So that can take out a good amount of things. It's in a world where there is a lot of multi-wound units. I think he could do very well to at least remove 1 or 2 models. A multi-wound. I don't know. I think whenever they do, because I honestly feel like they are going to fix the flanking thing. Like, that would just be insane if he could flank with himself. I think going with the trenchers, we're starting to see a world where trenchers are very likely going to be back on the table. I really feel like Haley 3 is a very powerful caster. I think she might be on the level of Haley 2, in all honesty. It's just going to take a lot longer for us to see that, but with that being the potential, I think hand in hand you're going to see trenchers rise, which means I think the Trencher Buster is going to come right along with that.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to say that with a little bit more drama, in a world full of multi-wound infantry. Might kill one.
We can always get John Bailey on the show for that.
That's true.
We go. Vince McMahon.
Yeah, the combination I was thinking with the goblins, because they're sea dogs, is that that puts bloody Bradigus on the table, because they could get into a flanking position for Bradigus to really use his gang fighter ability.
Oh, that's intriguing.
So little stuff like that, because they're sea dogs, that'll of course trigger gang up and gang fighter.
What about you, Malorian? What are you thinking?
One of the ones I keep on looking at is those same little goblins, right? The ones that we were talking about, where I was like, they've got their silly grappling guns, and they're so useless. And I think I have a different perspective on them just because I'm more of a jamming guy. And so anything that's cheap and is advanced deploy seems to have some play. The grappling hooks don't seem great, but maybe they're a way that you can deal better with terrain. So I know, like with my press gangers, whenever they're trying to get in there and jam, if something is behind rough terrain or something like that that's going to slow me down, that can really just stop my jam. These guys, maybe they can walk up their six. They're at the edge of the inhospitable ground, and then they can shoot a jack and pull themselves in. So, I mean, they're cheap enough that you can throw them in there, and they're not going to be a lot of points, but they kind of just really help with that jam. So, I don't know, it's something I'm going to play around with, but, yeah, I think out of all of them, that's the number one thing. Because like you guys said, a lot of them, people are saying, like, everything's amazing, but this is one where a lot of people don't seem to like them, and they might actually have some promise. But, you know, it'll just be, it's one of those things where it's situational, but like a machine wraith, when a machine wraith comes in, it's really good. So... we'll see.
Oh, I've got one. Since killing Nemo is like my favorite sport, that little jerk is always hiding behind a storm wall. So take your chef, take a gobber, the gobber rolls up, hunks storm wall with his harpoon, puts himself behind the storm wall base to base with his butt facing it so they're not engaged. Your chef just arcs a couple shots into you through him.
How do you sleep at night?
I sleep on the bodies of Nemos.
Yeah, apparently.
Well, see,
That's
that's what I love about the game, right? Is just all the different jank and stuff you can do with all the different options. So.
I wish I could jank with gremlins.
You can't because you don't play Cricks. And your pigs don't allow it. Sucker!
Yeah, I'm getting kind of sick of minion releases that aren't minions.
Good, you should. Hey, if it makes you any better, like, literally, well, hold on, wait, no, the minions, those things are not minion releases, they're mercenary releases. They were in Reckoning.
No, the gremlins are in whatever the new Hordes book is.
Oh, the gremlins, yeah. No one cares about you.
Horde.
I can't read or write, so.
So another topic we can move on to that I think is kind of interesting as I open up Haley 3 here is that Privateer Press is changing the way they make models. And as I look here at Haley 3, where she has the different, you know, I got a plastic cape here and a metal body. They put out the pictures just in the last, was it just yesterday?
Is that plastic or resin? Because they've been mixing up resin a lot.
Yeah, but now they had, GW for a long time has had their sprues, right? Where they're the injection models. Here's one. Where it looks like this, right? And this has always been a GW type thing, Games Workshop. But now it looks like this is what Privateer Press is moving to, because they put out the picture that had one like this to do their Reliant and their Stormclad kit.
Yeah, I saw that.
So what are your guys' thoughts on that change?
I mean, if it's cheaper for Privateer Press to do that and they could produce models at some point, hopefully they'll be able to produce models faster, but if it's cheaper to bring it to the consumer, I'm fine with it. At the end of the day, I want my models to look good. I want them to be on the table. When I first started, I played way back in Mark 1, and I remember when Mark 2 started, that's when they started coming out with the resin kits of the Warjacks. I remember picking up my first Ironclad after, oh, let's be serious, it was a Defender, after I'd put together the plastic or the resin. It just didn't have the same heft, and it felt weird. But then whenever I have an entire bag of that for just Convergence, the strain on my shoulder is so much lighter. I would kill to convert all of my stuff to that now because it is so much lighter to carry this stuff.
You know, maybe your nerds could use a little bit more PT. Just saying.
I play rugby. That's good enough.
No, you run around and chase a ball.
And I drink heavily afterwards.
Boy, you gotta.
But you have to. I mean,
it's funny because like I'm against the plastic for like the most purely selfish reason ever. Is it's been 18 months. I'm waiting on my meat thresher.
Oh yeah.
And, I want my meat thresher, and it's not coming out, and I want it.
I think it was. I'm not sure if it was Devil Squid or someone else, but they actually took some GW Orc bits and made their own thresher.
Yeah, he did. I saw him posting that up online. I kind of want to go up and see it. I got to go up to hang out with them at some point. But
I did a double take because I thought, wait, is that the kit? Is that what it looks like? And then I saw a comment about him converting a brigand to be the gunner popping out the top.
Yeah, he did a great job on it, and you know, if you're ever in the DC area, you kind of got to make the Hajj over to meet the Hogfather.
Yeah, I think my biggest thing though with this going to this new kit is that with Games Workshop, the way it worked for them is that first of all, in those injection molds, they would just be putting on the models and the pieces that you needed. And then later on, because hey, they got room on the sprue, they started adding more and more options and more things that allowed you to customize your models. And so, I mean, you've already kind of got that before where they had the beast patch where like, okay, in this one box you could make a Carnivian, Scythian, Ravagore, and you end up with extra bits that you could use to convert other places. But, you know, maybe now that we get this, maybe they'll be giving us multiple different versions of, oh, you can have this type of exhaust or multiple looks of swords or whatever that allows you to convert your models a lot more. Does that conversion part really, is that something you guys would be interested in?
If you ask me a week from now, then the answer will be yes. But I just had to glue 54 candles onto a Sacravolt, so I'm a little bit bitsed out.
Yeah, as long as it's not conversion work that causes confusion as to what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. As long as
I
it's
would
not.
just like to see little fun bits added on that you can add on, you can glue onto the base along with the model. That'd be cool.
Because that's what Games Workshop started adding. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, that's weird. Why does this kit have like a dog? But okay, now if you want to have a dog running by your guy, or there'd be like extra badges and ribbons and stuff you could put on. You know, there'd be different head options. You know, it was just something where that's a big thing I saw that was missing from me doing 40K in Fantasy coming to War Machine, that when I build, especially the older models, right, like say the old metal jacks, there's one way those things go together. The new plastic ones have a little bit more flexibility, but if you could have the options now that these injection molds might be giving you because there'll just be more pieces, that'd be great.
Well, I think one of the things that it might open up way down the future is when you're doing units, you can have sort of like maybe instead of weapon attachments and unit attachments, like an upgrade card where it gives them a new weapon, a new ability, and you just include that in the kit. So sort of like Malifaux style, where you can do that. It would open up a little bit more game design space. Or, I mean, you can just co-package Iron Fang and Black Dragon Pikeman.
Yeah, it could be doing that too. Okay, so as we're kind of moving into the final parts of this here, last time when I was on with you guys, we talked about the whole Rias versus Ashen challenge, and I've been picking on you guys, and I put out the video kind of like teasing you guys, and I thought, you know, you guys were great to come on to Jank Tank, and I thought maybe you guys might have a challenge like that to come back for me and Tim Man. So is there any ideas that you guys have?
Whoa.
The power I just gave you.
I know, how to be diabolical with this.
Let's see.
Do you guys meet up and like play each other fairly frequently?
Oh, Tin Man and I are pretty far apart.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm in Southern California and he's up in Canada, so.
Yeah.
Is that close?
That's pretty close, right? That's like a stone's throw away.
Oh yeah.
I'm a geography major, I think, right? Let's see. What I would love to see is a fight of holy proportions. I would love to see some type of Constance Blaze fighting a glorious fight against. Well, there's two fights I like to see. One, Constance Blaze fighting against maybe like something like Scavarus. And honestly, I want to see the ultimate sister on sister battle. So I want to see some Denny versus some Haley.
But Crick's playing friends aren't playing anymore.
You know, I can do that one easy because my brother plays Crix, and he would love the opportunity to kick my butt. So I think I could do that one. So which one would you rather see, the one with Constance or the one with the sisters?
You know, I kind of want to see the Constance one, man. Kind of want to see Constance. All right, Gaston, what do you got for 10 Man then?
I want to see something lesser used. So I think my options are pirates. So let's go with Fiona the Black. Let's get some Thamride versus Constant Blaze. There you go. You got the Signor model blown out, so tomorrow in on Thamrite action.
That's pretty good. That's a good one.
What do you say, Tin Man? Do you think you can pull that one off in your area?
I'm still rebuilding my area. Maybe if I travel out of town, I can pull something like that off. But
Nice.
I'm still rebuilding my meta, so it's.
Don't worry, we promised we would do it over a year ago for the Arias fight, and we still haven't done it yet.
As long as you
I
do
promise
it,
we are getting to it, though. We are going to do it.
I did manage. I did manage to do this video from years ago, the Mercenary Pirates versus Crix Pirates, and my caster was Fiona.
Okay.
Nice.
And I want to do something like that again with a friend of mine who lives in the LA area, and we were gonna do this, but I couldn't make it to Kingdom Con this year.
Oh, man.
We planned to not do tournaments and just hang out in Iron Arena and get games in. That was our plan. One of the things we were going to do was do that battle, but it didn't happen.
I've got one for you. I've never seen this before. Agents of Jord? Dwarf Shay, the Theme Force.
Oh,
no
that's
quarter.
right.
That'd be cool, but the only dwarf model I have is Thor, and I haven't even painted him yet.
You don't need him to be painted.
I have a bad feeling I have to take up all these challenges so that while Tin Man's rebuilding, I'm going to have to try and figure these all out.
I got mercenaries, but
There it
really, I
goes.
don't
Sounds
really
like
have
we're
any
challenging.
dwarf or organ mercenaries. Okay, yeah, let's see.
All right, well, I
But
think
I got a friend. You know what? I've got a friend who does have that stuff. It's just a matter of meeting up with him to play.
There we
Awesome.
go.
Do it. Yeah.
I'm excited. I have never even seen that Theme Force.
They're the Agents of Jord. Yeah, I'll talk to him, see what he has. But I know he collected a whole bunch of dwarf mercenaries, and then he switched to. He also started getting Italian charter. Yeah, he's just one of these players. He's had a hard time meeting up with them.
Yeah.
I remember actually being disappointed with Shay. Well, we're getting some feedback from somebody there, but you know, I always play the jank and like sort of like this swarm game and try to just like throw dudes at you. And I knew eventually, like, man, why not just play Shay? Because Shay seems to be all about that. I'm playing the press gangers anyway. And then I got Shay actually by winning a contest with Menoth John. And then when I looked at the card, I was like, oh, you know, I kind of jam better with press gangers with Haley too. I mean, surprise, surprise. But yeah, I didn't actually get much Shay going there. But yeah, I mean, I should try that tier sometime too. But so we're kind of moving here just in the last few minutes. What we usually do is when we get to here, we just do a recommendation of another channel or something that's not usually War Machine related. So, Tin Man, do you have one for this week?
Do I? Let's see. Considering I haven't thought about it, but let's see here. Oh yeah, there's a show I've been watching for years called Familiar Faces, where the guy takes an in-depth look at obscure cartoon characters, and the YouTube channel is simply Familiar Faces channel. So if you like cartoons, and you particularly like kind of revisiting your childhood there and the stuff you liked as a kid. This guy's really good at just really pulling the most obscure stuff out that you watched as a kid but just hadn't thought about in years. And he has a good way of just bringing all those good vibes right back.
Okay, yeah, I'll have to check that one out. How about you, Gaston?
I'm actually going to recommend Polar Bear Cub's new podcast. He's on that with DC, and he gets to talk about that now. I think I just stole his. This is perfect.
Yeah, I don't watch too many YouTube channels, but I am going to plug my own podcast. DC from Privateer Press and another person, Reese, who used to work at Privateer Press, we do a bi-weekly podcast. It's like a half-hour long. It's called Your Turn Next. And this past week we talked about like play testing. Yeah, so that's mine. I have recently learned that I am horrible at announcing. I can't talk very well. So
Enunciating, and I'm in the same boat.
yeah, so that's one thing that I'm gonna start working on a little bit more. But doing this, but it's only about a half hour long. You know, always like the feedback. What about you, Malorian?
I think the one that I'm watching now that I'm pretty excited to check out is on the Geek and Sundry. Will Wheaton is doing kind of like this role-playing game that's going to be starting. It's for the whole series of tabletop. For the Kickstarter, they got to all the stretch goals, so they're actually going to be doing this extra role-playing game type thing as well. And this one's going to start this Friday. So I guess it's actually started on the Tuesday, where it's on some other channel or some other their regular website. But for it to be on YouTube, it's going to start this Friday on the Geek and Sundry one. And it should just be interesting to see these guys, have fun and do the old like Dungeons and Dragons type stuff. But we'll see how it goes.
Nice.
Oh, speaking of shameless plugs, locally. A friend of mine, a couple I know, they actually created their own tabletop game. It was sort of a tile exploration game, and we actually sat down. I sat down and played a game with them, and actually, interviewed them a little bit and got the gameplay mechanics. That video's on my channel right now. It's like the latest one I uploaded. Not a lot of people are watching it, but I think people should really check it out because it is a fun little game that the guy created, and he's actually working on the second edition of it at this moment.
Nice.
And so pretty much I did this thing to help him out, to help get the word out about the game he created, kind of maybe help build up a little bit of hype. And it's a game called Mind of a Wizard, and that video, it's on my channel now. It's long. It's like 50 minutes, but it's one of those things where time flies when you're having fun, and therefore when you get into it, you don't notice the time going by. We certainly didn't when we were playing.
That's really awesome. So you said he's working on the second edition of it now?
Yeah, he's actually working on the second edition of it because he's constantly adding in new rules, taking feedback from people, and this video's up. But this video was recorded like I want to say back in October or November, but we kept postponing posting the video because he was like, "Oh, let's post this closer to our local anime convention." Wait, not yet. Let's post this later. Then eventually it's like I got all these projects in my iMovie editor. I got to clear some stuff out, so I ended up editing that up real quick and posting it the day after I did the second game I played with Minoff John, which is also up on Steam Power TV.
Nice. That's awesome.
Have you guys seen that yet?
No.
Okay. Well, my second battle report that I did with Minoff John at the 2014 Kingdom Con. I finally got around to posting that, so that's like literally the longest I've gone without posting a video. Like literally 14 months.
Jeez, that's intense.
But you came back with Minoff John.
That's true. That's pretty impressive to come back with Minoff John.
Yeah. So,
all right, guys. Well, we're at the end of the hour here, so I want to thank you guys, Gaston and Polar Bear Cub, for coming on here for Jank Tank. And for you guys watching, I guess we'll see you next week. So, bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
boobs.